For me, it has been the written word. In order for me to find my voice, and this is a joke now, but it wasn't when I was married. The reason I became an author was because it was the only time I could complete a total thought and not be interrupted. And I use that as a joke now, but to your audience, I'll be very real and raw. Literally, one of the reasons that it took me so long to figure out where I was and where I needed to be was because I could never complete a thought without being interrupted by either my partner or one of the young children. Now, you can be in one of those homes like I was in, like where your father would bust on you and say, "Don't interrupt your mother," and use fear. I did not want to have a house of fear. I lived in a house of fear. And the fear wasn't of a parent or what have you. The fear was external forces and we being a soft target. Okay. So, one of the things that I would like to share with people is that I wanted to have a house where people felt they could express themselves. And one of the interesting things was the children would take the cue from the father. Well, of course, if the father's always interrupting other people, then it's very difficult as a person. So I would just sit and listen a lot. And it was that situation that drove me to write. And this was huge. And this is why. Because throughout my life, I have learned English 3 different ways, depending upon what country we were in, whether it was a British-based society, a Canadian-based society, or an American-based society. English is talked about in 3 different ways. So you will hear me mispronounce words and stuff like that because I'm taking it from a different culture. And so I'm always asking people, wait, how do you pronounce your name? Or how do you pronounce this word? And I use the excuse I have a reader's vocabulary. I know what the word means, I just don't know how to pronounce it half the time. So that's one fun thing. But the other fun thing and the joke I like to share is that because I was always taught that I was a horrible writer, I really didn't think anybody wanted to read what I had to write. It wasn't until I became a college professor that my students were like, "Oh my God, we love your stories. We love what you say." And so it was really my students from that university that really helped me gain my voice. And I did that through the written word. And the more I wrote, the more I realized I had a lot to share. But up to that point, I really was just happy being who I thought was me. And it wasn't until the students and then the awakening I had through meditation that I realized I really needed to start writing.
I like that being witnessed that you just talked about, that then helps you see through other people's eyes that you have value. And so much when we are surrounded by judgmental type environments, we don't see our value because it's not reflected back, kind of like a mirror, I guess. You were you, and your students happened to be your mirror, and then the blank page began to be the place where you could express yourself. Thank you, Janine.
Thank you for being with us today for this episode of Find Your Voice, Change Your Life. Each person during interviews shares what has helped them find their voice. You can learn from these guests and find your voice so you can be confident to speak up and speak out. And remember to download Doreen's free 7-step guide to fearless speaking at doreen7steps.com. We hope you enjoyed the show and will return next time. Until then, goodbye for now.